Hi, Amanda. I'm glad we were able to connect, and I'm looking forward to hearing about how your finances have been going since our last meeting. Is there anything that stands out right away for you that you would like to start with?
Well, I've been thinking a lot about the tracking exercise that we did last time, where you had me just write down what was coming in and what was going out.
Okay, so it sounds like you found the exercise on tracking as a good way to see the overall picture of where your money was going. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
All right. Can you then tell me a little more about how you've used this since we last met?
Yeah, I've been keeping my receipts. And although this has helped me keep track of a few smaller decisions, and that's helped me control my spending, I just don't know how I'm going to turn the bigger picture around.
Sounds like the time you are taking to manage your money is benefiting you already. That's great news. You applied it to your daily activities, and as a result, this helped you feel in control of your spending. It also sounds like there are some areas causing you some concern. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
It hasn't been easy to stay on track. There have been times I've wanted to quit. When it comes to managing my expenses and paying down my debt, it really just seems too big. Honestly, I'm feeling more overwhelmed now that I can see the big picture.
Yeah, managing a budget can be stressful sometimes. So, especially if we feel like we don't know what the priorities might be. Could I suggest today that we spend some time looking at figuring out what your financial goals are? How does
Oh,
that sound to you?
yeah, I would appreciate that. I'm not afraid to do what I need to do to manage my finances if I can see that it's making a difference.
Okay, so how would you feel about doing a financial goal setting worksheet that's in your folder? This scale would help us determine how comfortable you feel in key financial areas as well as where you'd like to improve. Let's just focus on the first part and we'll get to the second half a little bit later.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay, so now that you've completed the scale, let's take a look at some of your responses. What is one area you are most comfortable with?
Well, I feel pretty comfortable with being able to pay my rent regularly, so I put an 8 on housing.
That's great because rent is often a big expense to manage. Okay, now what's one area that you are not as comfortable with?
Okay, well, debt is a 0 because I've never been able to get control of it. Every time I get one thing paid off, something happens, and I'm right back where I started with more bills to pay. I can never get ahead.
Yeah, that sounds like it's making you frustrated to not get ahead. What might it feel like to focus on this area as a financial goal?
Well, I definitely want to work on my debt, and I would feel safer if I had real savings to rely on. I've also heard that having like good credit can really help with more opportunities. It would be nice to know what that felt like.
Yeah, so now because of that, let's take a look at that second part of our exercise. What might a goal towards managing your debt look like?
Well, I'd love to be completely debt free, but I don't know anyone like that though.
Yeah, it sounds like being debt free is really important to you. So, what's the first step you could take towards having no debt?
Well, I liked creating a budget, so maybe I could do something similar with my debts. So, in the next week, I will create a list of all my debt amounts owed.
Okay, so then with that idea to create the list, what will help you achieve this step?
Um, well, I could figure out the minimum amounts owed for each debt and what the minimum amount is due for each month for each month on each amount.
Yeah, those sound like great action steps. Can you think of any support or help you might need to get this done?
No, I feel like I can get this done by next week.
Okay, that's great. You've thought through the steps and came up with a solid plan for the week. So, how does this help manage the stress you were noticing at the beginning of our session?
Well, having a plan is helpful. I feel like I have a place to start with my debt.
Great. That's awesome. Let's set a date and time to connect in a week to check on how things are going. Feel free to contact me if you need to troubleshoot on anything.
That's great. Thank you.